The sun was setting. A tired traveler walked into a small town. He was hungry. His stomach rumbled. He only had a small bag and a big round stone. The houses looked cozy. Smoke curled from chimneys. The traveler hoped someone would share a meal with him. He knocked on a door. A woman opened the door. "Hello," she said. "Can I help you?" The traveler smiled warmly. "Good evening," he said. "I am a weary traveler in need of some food and rest. Could you spare a little something to eat?" The woman frowned, her face showing signs of worry and regret. "I'm sorry," she said, shaking her head slowly. "We don't have much food ourselves. Times have been tough, and we barely have enough to feed our own family." She gestured towards the inside of her home, where an empty pantry and a sparse kitchen could be seen. The traveler nodded understandingly, his smile fading slightly but still present. She closed the door quickly, leaving the traveler standing alone on the doorstep. He took a deep breath and moved on to the next house. The traveler knocked on another door and then another, hoping for a different response. Each time he was met with the same answer. People shook their heads, their faces filled with sorrow and helplessness. "We don't have enough food to share," they all said. The traveler felt a pang of disappointment, but understood their plight. The traveler sighed deeply, looking around the empty community. It was clear that everyone was struggling. He knew he couldn't give up. He had to find a way to help these people and himself. Determined, the traveler stood tall, a spark of an idea forming in his mind. He knew what he had to do. With renewed energy, he began to prepare for the next step, ready to bring hope to this town with empty pots. He went to the village square. He took out his big round stone. He smiled. It was time for a little magic. He built a small fire. He placed a pot of water over the fire. Then, with a flourish, he dropped the stone into the pot. People came out of their houses. They watched him with curiosity. "What are you doing?" a little girl asked. "I'm making stone soup," the traveler said. "It's a very special recipe." "Stone soup?" A man chuckled. He couldn't believe his ears. The idea of making soup from stone seemed utterly ridiculous to him. "I've never heard of such a thing," he exclaimed, his face a mix of curiosity and skepticism. "Oh, it's delicious," the traveler said with a confident smile. He had a way of making the impossible sound not only plausible but enticing. "But it needs a little something extra." The traveler gestured with his hands as if conjuring the flavors in the air. "Perhaps some carrots to make it sweeter." A woman stepped forward, her eyes lighting up with the idea of contributing. "I think I have a few carrots," she said, her voice filled with excitement. She quickly rummaged through her kitchen, determined to find the best ones. She hurried home and came back with a handful of carrots for the pot. The vibrant orange of the carrots added a splash of color to the bubbling mixture. "This is a good start," the traveler said, stirring the pot with a wooden spoon. The aroma began to fill the air, drawing more curious onlookers. But a bit of cabbage would make it even tastier. An old man smiled, his eyes twinkling with the joy of being part of something communal. "I think I can spare some cabbage," he said, his voice warm and inviting. He knew the value of sharing and the magic it could bring. He brought a big leafy cabbage from his garden. The leaves were fresh and crisp, promising to add a delightful crunch to the soup. The community gathered around, each person eager to see what they could contribute next. The pot was no longer just a vessel for cooking. It had become a symbol of unity and shared purpose. As more ingredients were added of everyone involved, the simple act of sharing had turned an ordinary day into a special memory for all. Soon others started sharing. The spirit of generosity spread like wildfire. A young boy brought potatoes. His eyes sparkled with excitement as he handed them over. A mother brought some onions. She smiled warmly, knowing her contribution would make a difference. Someone brought herbs, adding a fragrant touch to the mix. Someone else brought a bit of salt and pepper. These simple seasonings would elevate the flavors of the soup. The aroma of the soup filled the air. It was a tantalizing scent that made everyone's mouth water. Everyone was excited, their anticipation growing with each passing moment. They had all contributed something. Each ingredient, no matter how small, played a crucial role in creating this communal masterpiece. They couldn't wait to taste the magical stone soup. The air buzzed with chatter and laughter as they imagined the flavors coming together. Finally, the soup was ready. The pot was brimming with a rich, hearty broth that promised warmth and comfort. The traveler ladled it into bowls. Each serving was a symbol of unity and cooperation. Everyone ate together in the village square. The sense of community was palpable as they shared this meal under the open sky. It was the most delicious soup they had ever tasted. The flavors were enhanced by the love and effort everyone had put into it. This feast was more than just food. It was a celebration of togetherness and shared joy. The traveler smiled. He knew the secret. It wasn't the stone that made the soup magical. It was the sharing. When everyone gives a little, we can create something wonderful together. That night, no one in the village went to bed hungry. They had learned a valuable lesson about community cooperation and the magic of sharing.